Okay, hello everybody. What is up? So today is going to be a little history, kind of. Why should we say our U.S. battleships? Any battleship, any cruiser that is a medium ship. So let me just get the thing up, and we will start talking about that. So a lot of you guys know about, or most of you guys probably have heard of the USS Iowa, the USS Texas, the USS Minneapolis that got attacked by that got sunk by a submarine, and the crew got attacked by sharks, I think, or something like that. Well, you've all probably all have probably heard of U.S. battleships or U.S. cruisers or U.S. destroyers, even that. And a lot of our grandparents, parents are or have been involved in the Navy. And basically, some of the ships, like the USS Texas, the USS North Carolina, the USS Massachusetts, the USS Iowa, a lot of those ships are preserved now as museum ships. Now, I'm not asking you guys to donate or anything, or I'm not coming out here to support any of those groups, but what supporting them does is helping them. Basically, we see the ship, right? So you go on a ship, you look at it, you check it out, USS Intrepid or stuff like that. You check out the ship, you see all the nice planes on it, SR-71, A6 Razbam, or 910, but F-14 essentially. And then you go see the ship, and then they're asking for donations, and let's say you don't donate. Well, it's pretty much either or. If you do donate or you don't donate. But what it basically depends on is basically what those donations go to is repairs for that ship. Basically, and to profit the company, of course, that's having that ship there, or having the Intrepid that's in charge of the Intrepid, that's in charge of the Iowa, that's in charge, because the Navy is no longer in charge of that ship. The U.S. Navy doesn't have that ship or anything in that in the registry anymore of anything. They just have the super carriers now and the update carriers. I know the Iowa classes, I think, had missiles on them, but basically what it comes down to is donating, and like how you would what do you get when you donate? Well, I was watching a video and I just thought I'd spread the information through a fun way, and playing World of Warships, showing you some old ships, showing you some new ships. I have the USS Massachusetts, the USS Minnesota I can show you guys. So I just figured, why not go old school up to new school, talk about some ships, give you some play styles, maybe, and just have fun talking about what, is the U.S. Navy, and like what donating to a ship does, and why we should support these ships. So if you go back to the early age with the USS, as I load this, I will continue it. The game just load for a minute. So as you go back to the USS Albany, which is the first ship that we're going to be using, I'm not going to be using every single ship. I do have ships from that era, or from the era from early cruisers up until newer cruisers that I can show you guys. Obviously, the game is not realistic. It's a game, so it's not realistic in any sort of way. Armor wise, yes, but or possibly, I don't know, but it's not realistic gameplay. It's arcade kind of gameplay kind of. But in terms of the history, or in terms of what we're talking about, I just thought I would have this as a background drop, as or a drop, so you don't just hear my voice and don't see anything. So let me just load this game up, and we'll be starting with the USS Albany. Is it going to load for us? It should. There we go. There we go. It should load. Alright, let this game just load up, and then we'll find the Albany and use it. There she is. So this is one of the older cruisers in the game, as well as in the U.S. Navy. This is the USS Albany. The sister ship of this ship, I believe, is the USS Olympia, which is a museum ship in the United States. I believe as of now, it's one of the oldest in the United States right now as a museum ship. So basically, we're gonna do some play style and why we should preserve these ships. I have a couple of them I can show you guys, USS Oklahoma and stuff like that. So basically, that's what we're going to be doing in this video. I'm going to be grinding kind of, but that's not the main part of this video. So anyways, so why should we preserve ships like this? So you have the people who served on the ship, right? And then you have the families. Well, the family, and so on, the grandkids could say, hey, my great granddad served on this ship, and show them all the cool things about what World War I was all about, and I believe, or World War II. But you look at these ships, and it basically comes down to cost. Generally, that's what the main thing is. Is the ship cost to repair it? Is the maintenance cost of this ship or vessel keeping up with the amount of income that's coming in from the people who are watching it, seeing it, and exploring it in terms of what the ship has to offer in the tours and everything. So are they coming to it? Is a good amount coming to it throughout the years and so on. So generally, let me get into a battle so I'm not staying here in the port for too long. So generally, why we should save these ships comes down to the cost of the ship, the cost of the maintenance, and donating actually does help out with that. Apparently, I found out that all the donations that go to that ship go to maintenance and maintaining that ship or adding new stuff to that ship, tiles, whatever is rotting and decaying. It doesn't go to the cost or the pay of the company per se, the pay of the employees that work on that ship. It goes to the maintenance. So basically, you look at it this way: you have an old ship and you want to preserve it, but you don't know how. Generally, you don't know how to, but generally these ships depend on the general public. I know the USS Texas was one of the ships that was one of the ships that Texas wanted that was going to be scrapped. So they bought it from some company, bought it from the military, and they turned it into a museum ship. Right now, I believe the USS Texas is currently flooding, but they're expecting to be a museum ship again in about 2 years, where the ship is going to be essentially on dry land. Possibly not. That hasn't been decided yet. But the World of Warships used to actually, I don't know if they still do that, but part of the proceeds of buying the USS Texas in World of Warships went to donations for the actual USS Texas. So you're playing the USS Texas in game, and you're actually donating to the actual USS Texas, the actual ship, and preserving the actual ship, and playing with it in game as well as donating to it. So generally, World of Warships does that. They're also thinking of adding in submarines as well. But so if you have those ships that, let's say, you don't have any ships that were being preserved, or you don't have any family in the Navy, or you have family that served on submarines, World of Warships is actually thinking of adding submarines in the future. We don't know when yet, but in my opinion, it is important to keep these ships around because of the history of the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Air Force. We have the I think we have one Concorde, but that's not part of the thing. But we have many ships or many planes that are preserved in our country. Concorde, I know it's one of them. SR-71s, and we have old biplanes too, like the Waco biplanes that actually fly in air shows. And we have a I'm dying here. There we go. So, yeah. So we have the Waco biplanes. I did not see him. So other than that, we're going on to the next ship. Yeah. So we have the Waco biplanes and all that, as I was saying. Same thing with the U.S. Navy, but what the U.S. Navy does have trouble with is the salt ore actually corrodes metal, so you end up having rust on the metal, and then the metal breaks down. Same thing with Titanic. The Titanic is going to be gone by like 2050 or 2040. Same thing with any museum ship you see. Essentially, you can keep replacing the metal, but that does get cost effective as well. I'm going to jump into Charleston in a minute. Let me just see if there's yeah. Okay. I'm just jumping into Charleston. So it does get cost effective generally, but as you see, basically the way I look at it, keeping a ship around for the future, like let's say you have a ship, right? Well, you have the people who served on it, and you have those families, and those families, and those families, family that support the ship, but that's only like what, 4 people or something like that, or like 10, 20 so people. These ships need a lot of donations to stay around, Arizona included. Arizona is essentially in the sunk in Pearl Harbor, and I don't really know. Hey, look, Pearl Harbor shipping in terms of that, but well, not. I think it is. I think the St. Louis is as well. But anyways, that there's no thing right now what they can do with the USS Arizona after it corrodes and stuff like that. But that ship's been there since when the Japanese attacked. So I don't know if they're going to put that ship on land. I think it's generally too late to do that. But same thing with any ship you see on the also above water that is a museum ship. Basically, it's the history, and even though you're not part of it, there's other people in the if I can find a ship here in the U.S. that are part of it that literally don't have the money to support the ship. So by you donating to a company to preserve, let's say, the USS Texas or the USS Iowa or the USS Intrepid, those companies generally donate all to the proceeds, all the maintenance. And that can be repairing the guns, repairing stuff that you don't see. So even though a ship like the USS New Jersey is looking fine, USS North Carolina is looking fine, there are probably rooms on that ship that are not available to the public that are corroding. And if you know, like that was a bad shot. If you know, like some cruises, some cruise ships, and if you know there's room upon room upon room upon room, that same thing with the battleships. There are room upon rooms upon rooms upon gunnery rooms, armory rooms. So if one of those rooms gets flooded, or one of those rooms corrodes, that's going to start a whole chain of events that is going to generally corrode the ship. Cost is going to skyrocket because you're talking about getting new metal that's going to fit, cutting the metal, the amount of time it takes to cut the metal, the amount of metal you need. So Generally, if there's 3 rooms on a battleship that are flooded or corroded, that's what the donation money generally does go to. And repairing guns, and repairing this, and repairing that. So it just doesn't go to the stuff that you don't see. It goes to the stuff that needs repairing on the ship. Now, generally, if you're not in the Navy or you're not in the Army or whatever, and you're just a regular person looking at the ship, well, think of it this way. Do you want to keep that ship, if you were in the Navy, do you want to keep that ship around for years and years and years? So the families of families generally can appreciate the ship that don't generally pay for it. Now they generally can, but if they don't have the money to pay for it, then donating is just helping them to keep the ship around. And plus, if you want to have a ship around like the St. Louis Charleston, generally it's history. So we have tons of museums, aviation museums, artifact museums throughout the U.S. Aviation, Egyptian artifacts, Native American artifacts, stuff like that. It's just history. So if you love history, generally donating to a company like the USS Texas or the USS Iowa, any battleship or any museum that is in the U.S. is there to preserve those items and preserve what is there. So that's basically what it's doing. And if you want to keep history, if you love history, donate to battleships, donate to the navies, the armies that actually keep these museums open, because it does get expensive paying for metal. I think the bottom of even the parts that you don't see, like the bottom, you're donating for, because they also need to repair the bottom of the ship as well. So, like, yes, the USS Charleston is small, but think about the Iowa class battleships. How expensive it's gonna take them to repair just metal on the ship, or a funnel, or a hole in it, or a tile even. So even though it's not really, even though you're not you don't know what you're donating for, but even though you're using your money to donate to a ship, you're keeping a ship around for another probably 30, 40, 50 years, that pretty much like the Iowa class battleships were essentially the new generation battleships. You could send missiles off of the Iowa class battleships. They were set to send missiles off, whereas the Charleston, as you see, is just the gunnery ship cruiser, support cruiser with a lot of guns on it. So keeping those ships around, you're keeping the Iowa class ships around, but what about up to the Iowa? You're keeping the wind ships around. Then what happened after the wind ships and you want to keep that timeline, because that's generally, essentially, an important part of your country. I mean, I'm playing every ship here, and there's tons of ships in the U.S. Navy that this game still needs to add. including battleships and stuff like that. So this is not, if you go into the game, this is not essentially the whole U.S. Navy. There's the USS Intrepid that they need to add. There's USS, I said before, the Idaho. They need to add they need to add a whole bunch of other ships, plus the ships that are blueprinted. They add as well. Essentially, the Minnesota, Vermont, and Kansas were blueprint ships, where they were deciding from the Colorado class if they wanted to go faster or slower. Essentially, we, as you know, we have the USS Iowa as a museum ship, so you can essentially see what the history was there and what we decided to go from that terms of aspect from the Colorado class, or nothing armor scheme to the faster, more maneuverable but weak side armor scheme of the USS Massachusetts, USS Hawaii, USS Montana, and the USS Montana was essentially, click on it, I don't have it yet, but the USS Montana was essentially going to be a non-treaty battleship. So a battleship with no naval treaties from any other country. So this was essentially what the USS Navy could be without any naval treaties. I'll zoom in here and show you the guns, secondaries, AA guns. So basically, that's why in general I didn't know he didn't use any ships, all the ships, but that's why in general, we should donate to these battleships. We should donate to the Iowas. We should donate to the Iowa class battleships in New Jersey, the Iowa, and I'm not saying donate to every one of those ships. I'm just saying donate to the one that you go to. Donate to the one that buys stuff from the one that you go to. Believe it or not, all the proceeds that they make from gift shops, from essentially anything really, all the proceeds that they make, the tours, the behind the scenes tours, the gift shops, the food that's on the ship, if they do have a cafeteria or something essentially on the ship, if it's available or if it's not available, but generally not, I don't think. But all those proceeds from you buying food, from you buying gifts, the ship, and keeping the ship afloat, and keeping the ship in good condition and not corroding. So, anyways, that's, I thought I'd say more, but I mean, I could go on and on about battleships. I love the U.S. Navy, but that's pretty much all I had to say about donating to battleships and why we should donate to them. Yes, it could go on longer, but I wanted this to be like a more shorter video of why you should donate and what it pretty much does essentially to be the general aspects of everything. When you donate, when you pay for food, when you explore a battleship, what it does to the ship, what it does for the ship, and for the company that is repairing that ship behind the scenes, underwater, above water. So, and in the dark depths of, because essentially if you're keeping a ship on water, everything that were underwater still needs to be repaired, or you're going to flood the whole ship. So, anyways, that's what I generally wanted to talk about. And I still do plan to do the Pommern review. That's going to be after another thing. I think I'm doing a thing with Roblox with my friend. Again, we're going to live stream. But I think that's going to be on Sunday. I'm not sure. Or maybe I'll live stream when I'm playing with him one time. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I just wanted to generally make an interesting sort of video because I know a lot of people do support the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Army, and there's a lot of families as well that are in the U.S. Navy, and the U.S. Army, and the U.S. Air Force, and and that do check out these ships. So generally, I just wanted to explain what donating to a ship generally does for the ship, and or for you, or for generally does for the company that's keeping that ship afloat. That's doing what generally donating to a ship does for the ship in general. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I do have more videos planned in the future. I think I'm going to do a fishing video soon. I've also got a Jurassic World video that I have planned. Once I set up a bunch of dinosaurs, I think I have one more dinosaur that I have to add into there that I didn't add yet. But I do plan to do Jurassic World videos, fishing videos, and aviation videos once it gets warmer. I also do have air show videos and do have other videos I do have planned. The Geico Sky Tapers and essentially is going to be a really tricky video for me to edit, due to the fact that the pictures aren't JPEG. So generally I'm trying to make them all not all of them JPEG so I can add them to the video for you guys. So I'm also working on that and stuff like that. So that's what tonight's video was about. Thank you guys for watching. I mean, it was about what it says in the title, but thank you guys for watching, and have a nice night, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, just closing everything down here, guys. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.